Hey, David. Hey, I gotta go find Danny. Where is my partner in crime? Let me check where we are today. I have not been part of the day trading today. We are higher than yesterday's close, both the ES and NASDAQ. CL trading around 75, which is right around yesterday's close. Pretty bullish day. 3-to-1 stocks on the upside for breadth. Not bad. Not a bad day. Dandy's coming in. This is this morning's moo, the open. I don't know if you guys have ever used the MIM for the open. I use it when I trade, particularly if there's a big gap, right? Because the stocks are priced. I mean, the futures are pricing overnight, but the underlying stock market's not. The equities are not actually changing hands, so it's kind of a stab in the dark at where they are, and so they're all going to come to an agreement at 9:30. So the market on order opening is an important part of that, the process. So if you got a decent gap, if the market on order imbalance, so if you have a gap up, a large gap up, and the market imbalance order on the open also shows a large imbalance, buy imbalance, they align, and that means that the gap is probably a valid gap, and it's more likely to hold and not fill. Danny, I can't hear you. Is it my phone? Oh, you know what? Oh, damn it.
Can you hear me, Marlin?
Oh, shit.
Let's see. Oh, shit. Let's see.
Let me see if that works. Can you talk, Danny?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't hear you. Oh, please don't make me reboot. One more shot here. Hello? Mhm.
All right, let me try. I'm trying to get this right. Camera, default. I'm good. All right. All right.
It's me. I'm the one fucking up today.
No, you're not fucking up.
I totally am.
Well, thanks for coming in, though. I appreciate it. I think if there's, beyond the economic reports and the headlines, I've always believed that the imbalances are part of the most important part of the day, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't know. As you know, I used to be able to trade the MIM a lot pretty well, right? I mean, hold on, let me spin this around. And I need to get a wireless too. I mean, I really, not bragging or anything, but I think if you ask a lot of people in the room over several years, I kind of had certain patterns that you could trade off of going into the close. And part of it was kind of from my experience of, like I've explained in the past, with working with Raj from Bank of America and understanding how these big MOC orders are entered. And, obviously like the large ETF funds, the really big public funds, they do have their own trading desk and they do execute their own orders. But, like Raj's desk they made prices for a lot of these big firms, and he would get part of the MOC orders from some of them. But a lot of his imbalance orders were based on his long and short book in both options, futures, stocks, probably more so in options. But, I for years I would follow this, and, people always think, oh, 350 cash and balance, Eastern time. But really, we know a little bit about this. We've seen it for a long time, Marlin, where, if you've got a big MOC order coming in and say the markets are down a little bit, but not really, whether they're down a little or up a little, but late in the day, they start to go bid well before the 350 imbalance. And there were specific times that I used to watch, and one of them was going into 3 o'clock. The S&P was bid at 3 o'clock, and then it was bid. I always looked at 320 because that was when Raj would start to enter his orders. But again, Raj probably had a handle on what he needed to do, but not only what he needed to do to balance his book out, his exposure, but also kind of because he sat at a customer desk. He also, it was a trading desk that was connected to a sales desk. So it kind of makes you kind of have a double, you have a pretty good edge when you can have that, right? But he very rarely, I mean, sometimes if he needed extra protection or he didn't go early, meaning like if his long book obviously was long stock, long options, long futures, and it was up, he wouldn't he would either add more long positions to it, but if his short book was short, he needed to add protection to that, or he needed to unwind part of that at the end of the day. So that either way, both sides of that scenario meant he had to buy. And I watched it for years, and there were certain times that I would just key in on, but I got to admit, And I think a lot of guys in the room would say the same thing. I used to trade them in, and I would, try to go a little like 320, 330, before 350. And if I caught it right, the futures, and there was a big buy, the futures would fly up. Now, the whole, the way it's worked now, it's total, the structure is totally changed. And I don't know that it's just because more people are looking at it, maybe, or, as we talk about the guys with the better theater seats, or the guys with the better seats, like yesterday when I came in, the S&P was way up on its highs of the day. And I said, hey, you got to be careful. Sometimes when you go into these MOCs, they offload. They've been long for a couple of days, and then they're taking profits on stocks, or they're getting out of things on the close. But yeah, it's kind of changed around a little bit over the last couple of years, hasn't it, Marlin?
Yeah.
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 I mean,
yeah. And the mechanics have changed too, right? I mean, it used to start at 345, now it's 350.
Yeah. And
the D quotes can go anytime. They used to only be able to go 355.
Right. And the other thing is, we all understand the 4 o'clock cash close, right? I mean, that's where everything is marked. And they can put orders in up like, I don't know what the rule is, up to like, or they can cancel and put in orders like in the last like 30 seconds. But there is a rule about that. That's kind of a spoofy.
I think only the last second now is frozen.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's because they could spoof, right? I mean, they can put in big bids, put in a couple million shares of IBM that really they don't want, and they're bidding it up, or they're trying, and then they pull the order at the last second. But I do believe, years ago it was like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, and then it was down to a minute. But what I've noticed particularly is that what's happened on the 4 o'clock cash close now, you may have a big move in the S&P or NASDAQ, and say it's to buy, and both of them pull back a little bit, but then they start going bid right into the last minute of the day. And that was never really like that until, like, I'd say the last year or two. So, I mean, I put a little bit more emphasis maybe on the 4 o'clock cash close, depending on what stocks are to buy, or the total net of all the buys or sells. So, but yeah. So so we have no data now, right? I mean, there's nothing to really look at.
Well, the move is on right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have examples of like yesterday? Can you pull up like the stocks that?
I'm just pulling up my charts right now, just to take a look to see as we're getting ready, right? So usually around 3:30 you start to get an indication, right, from the market.
Yeah.
Of their expectation to the close. So we're on the. Is this the highs of the day, 78.02? Because my charts don't go back far enough for today. Oh, are these charts even running? No.
Yeah. Well, we got up to. I think the high of the day is up toward like.
Oh God.
78.20. And the S&P. But look, in the opening print today, when I started talking about this yesterday, let me read this out, and maybe it's old news. Let's see. And I did this from Thursday's lows when the rally started. And again, this is not from the closes. This is from the lows. But the Nasdaq rallied almost 10%, and I think the S&P. Let me go back and look. And I'm not having a problem finding it now. Let's see. All right, so. From the July 30 low at 73.31 to August 4th high, which was 77.86, The ES is rallied 454 points. Now that doesn't include today's gain. That's a 6.21% gain. And I think the one that stood out the most was the NASDAQ from the July 30 low, 27,202. And the high yesterday was 29,556.50. It rallied 2,754.5 points or 10.13%. And that's coming off of, I'm pulling all that data right off of bar chart. So, but, surprisingly, the inflows, I put up some stuff about the stock market inflows. There was good buying going into the end of the month. I think there was like 30 billion in ETFs that were bought. I can look it up again, but one of the things I've always believed about, and maybe not necessarily all the time, but I've always had a saying that if you want to know where the S&P is going, you follow the money. And the MIM has always been a good tool for that. It really has. And maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but you have a lot of the long-term, if people wanted the long-term data, they could get that from you, right?
Yeah. Yes. I'm bringing up yesterday's. Let's see if that comes up here.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky at the end because here we're going to get shut off. It's going to go into live mode here pretty soon. And that doesn't seem to be loading. There's a new feature on the MIM. I don't know if a lot of people probably don't even know. Well, it just got put in yesterday. So there's the MIM dashboard. So if we go over here, we can go and we can say we want to see the 350 initial for the last 20 trading days for the MOC, and that will fit.
Yeah. That
will come in. So you can see, and you can see the trend, and they accumulated. It's really been pretty flat since July 17th on the close. Just kind of a flat, not accumulating, not moving up direction.
Now we used to get early data, right? But they don't really. The
floor still gets early data, so some people are still getting early data. You talked about people about things like the Bank of America, and the big banks.
Yeah.
They have huge books, right? So they see all the orders that are going to be put in. So they pretty much know, by 3:30, which is why you usually see a movement in the market around 3:30. What the MOC is going to look like. But the floor brokers are still. We used to have a partnership with some of the floor brokers that would feed us the data. They're kind of private data, which that got spoofed a lot. That was very noisy. That was a very noisy data set, and we only had maybe 50 or 70 symbols, which we cherry picked to kind of be a barometer for how the MOC was going to be. So it was very noisy. But
I know that people like to have to see the early data, but I'm not sure that it was always that it really meant very much.
No.
But how many years of data do you have on the MIM right now?
We go back to 2017, I believe.
Wow.
So all that data is there. You can download that in the history section if you join. Go back to the dashboard. To download the data, you come here to this calendar up here, down here, download MIM history.
Now, I know that there's been some new customers that have come in that have taken the MIM. One of the things I think is kind of cool, or something that I've talked to you about, is how to code Spygate into the MIM data, because I do think there's a correlation to looking at Spygate, because if you start seeing a lot of sell programs early before the MOC comes out, I've noticed that they end up to be somewhat more bearish 350 imbalance, and vice versa on the buy side. Have you noticed that ever?
what I do with Spygate is it's like, oh, let's see, got the wrong thing in here. I watch, for me, Spygate's the 355 indicator.
Yeah. And
So-
can you put Spygate up for a minute to look
Yeah,
at?
that's what I was trying to do here. Hang on. There you go. So it's only giving me a segment right now. But so this is the Spygate. So what Spygate does is it looks at all the data feeds, dark pools, all 9 of them, 15. I can't remember how many feeds there are, but it's a lot of data. And it looks for what I call simultaneous trades that exist. So there's a little aperture of time, and if a certain number of symbols will trigger that, and a certain dollar volume will trigger that, those are most likely going to be program trades on the tape, where a single trader is putting a bunch of symbols across all the different channels. So we reassemble that into a detection. So 355 this afternoon, looking at this line here, there was a buy. There's 37,000 trades executed in a small window of time against 384. These are the S&P 500 symbols. So 384 of the S&P 500 symbols that were in that basket. And there's a total size, and then there's a percentage. And then what it does is it looks to see if the basket moved if each stock moved up or down. So it looks at these 384 stocks. Did they move up or did they move down? And if they moved up, it's considered a buy program. If they move down, it's considered a sell program. And then what you'll start to see is you'll start to accumulate during the day where they start firing off that buyers are coming in here. So here we are coming into 338, and buy program just triggered. So it's the second 2 buy programs in a row that have triggered. So people are buying going into these last, at least the baskets are buying. Now you don't know if they're buying to close shorts or whether they're buying to open positions, but there are buyers. So if you're going to try and catch a knife, if you're going to try and call a bottom or call a top, you really should be using this program right here and wait for, if it's fallen sharp, do not buy until you start seeing buy programs coming in. And that tells you that there's at least people are exiting the shorts, or people are seeing it's a bargain and coming in.
And while we're on here, we could talk about pitbull traders a little bit. I don't know how many people in our particular, our realm trade any kind of funded accounts, but we've got a prop trading firm called Pitbull Traders. We've also got a big educational piece that we do. Every day we have a different speaker come on. And really, we've got some top-rated guys. That was really part of my goal when I was on the trading floor. And I started Mr. Top Step, that I wanted to kind of like, not necessarily take the kind of floor thing with me, but kind of take like what I was trying to do at my trading desk was, and again, people make their own decisions at trading. But at the end of the day, I think that one of the things about some of the funded trader stuff is that, you've got to really control your risk if you want to make money doing that. It's an easy way to, I don't want to say it's an easy way to make money, but if you're someone that can, you're doing it right now, Marlin, you can talk about it, right? You're trading a funded account. You're not trying to make tons of money every day.
No,
You're just trying to get to the stage where, you can start trading and getting paid for making money, right? That's the bottom line.
I'll tell you, it is a cheap way of testing out and, ideas, systems, whatever you want to do, without actually using your own money and without the boredom of sim. So, you got to invest whatever it is, $75, $95 to get the account. After that, it's just, if you don't crash, you don't lose your $1,500 or whatever the parameters are on the downside.
Yeah.
which isn't real money and it's not your money. So really, the price of playing is your stop, and it's enough of a feedback to let you know whether your program is working or whether your program's not working or your ideas are working or not.
Yeah.
So, before I start trading my own capital, I will buy one of these programs and play around and trade with some ideas and see how it goes. So it's a really great way to do that. And if you're new to trading, or particularly if you're new to trading, don't trade your own capital.
No.
Use these programs. And if you can't get through the programs, they're really not hard to get through the evaluation process. If you trade responsibly and you don't go high risk, and again, it's a stop. It's a $99 stop or $79 stop. And you have the ability to actually make cash. I pulled $1,200 out the other day out of an account, and some things
and if you do blow out, you can reset for how much are the resets?
Resets. The resets are almost the same price as buying a new program. It depends on where you blow out. The resets are so you might buy it. You might be a $99 program and the resets are $75 or something like that.
But you get the data feed. You can choose your platform. You have. It's really pretty. It's a gigantic industry, and I don't know how many people that are listening know about it, but I think that the industry.
Like David said he considers it. David actually makes a living doing that.
Right.
Doing program trading. For him, it is, he's got a whole idea how to use the program trading, having a bunch of, he does multiple accounts and trades multiple accounts.
The prop trading.
Yeah.
He's got a bullpen. He's got,
and
he trades one. Well, he's trading live through the new account that he's gone beyond the simulated getting paid on sim to a real live account, prop account, where if he makes money, he can literally withdraw it that same day.
Right.
Which he doesn't. He builds the money up. But all right, so we're 6 minutes before the mem. There's David. He said, I view evals as a 30-day call option. He's right? Limited risk.
There's the link if you want to check out the programs in our prop program. And we're here, and all of our traders are familiar with the program. And they can help you put a system together to pass.
Well, David was in there today, and Danny came in.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say about when I was on the floor, and this is a true story. The desk did mainly institutional bank, hedge fund, and prop trading business, but we did a lot of retail. And people would always ask me, why would you do the retail? And it's a simple answer, because retail always traded. And it didn't make up, I'd say if there was 100% of the business, the retail probably made up 10 or 15% at the most. But through all that retail and watching the way people traded, I would, maybe if it wasn't me that noticed it, maybe it was someone else that noticed it at the desk. And they'd say, God, do you see what this guy's doing? He's trading 3 lots or 4 lots or 5 lots. Then all of a sudden he's trading 8 lots, and he's trading 10 lots, and he's trading 20 lots, And I swear to God, I would jump on the phone and say, hey, what are you doing? And over the years, the reason that we made Mr. Top Step was to kind of create a collective of traders, which I think we've done a really, really good job. I think we've got the best crew of traders we've ever had. By far.
So great. These are not, screaming in them and making entertainment shows and trading live and blowing up accounts. These are real, they're all seasoned, right?
Yeah.
They all got a track record.
Yeah. And Text Dad says, how do you use the market open data on MIM? You see that, Marlin?
Yeah. So for me, I use the market on data on the MIM to judge only if there's a gap. If there's a gap, futures gap that's there, I want to know if that gap's valid, right? Because that gap was just, it's speculative. People are trying to find a price, and the futures are trading without having the underlying equities actually trading. So they're kind of guessing what the S&P is going to open at. And if you look at the move, and the move is not agreeing with that, so it's not confirming. If you have a buy gap, if it's not confirming that the move's got a decent buy side coming in, and only in the last 5 minutes of the move is really what I look at.
Yeah.
And if it's an agreement, I go, oh, okay, it's a good gap. If it's not an agreement, I go, oh, this gap's going to collapse pretty fast. And you can learn to see that after a while just by looking at what the move looks like and what the futures are trading at.
I'm curious. I haven't been paying attention to the move market on open the last couple of days, but have there been like big buy imbalances on the open?
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Is that weird? I mean, obviously there was huge buying going on, and these big gap ups. I like trading these gaps in the futures, and they were impossible until, and even today was impossible unless you waited and you were patient. But the 3 of the last 4 days, or 4 of the last 4 days, if you tried to sell that gap up, you got totally smoked. And especially Monday, was it Friday, Monday, Tuesday? Yeah.
Well, people stay short overnight, and then they have to buy the open.
All right, so we got 1:45, and then Marlin. So what you're going to do is we'll get a look at the imbalance, and then you'll open it up and show the stocks and stuff, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we'll walk through the imbalance and kind of see what how it looks and how have a discussion about. So right now we're in the waiting phase for the first data. The first data will come out at 3:50, which is 1 minute and 15 seconds.
The futures are not really doing all that well. I mean, they're not going down, but they're not going up.
It looks sideways once I got the charts running.
Yeah, and it looks like it's been like that for the last, for quite a few hours, since like 12:30.
That Spygate had a couple decent buy programs around 1543. So kind of curious to see if we don't get a buy imbalance on the open here.
Well, we had a big sell yesterday, right?
Yeah, 7 billion, 7.5 billion. So I don't know if everybody knows what the imbalance is. It is all the symbols, right? That have it's the market on close orders for all the symbols basically, and then we aggregate the notational value for each of the symbols. We add those together. So if there's a buy imbalances, we add up all the buys, we add up all the sells, and we get build a picture up of how the close looks like it's going to go, because we're index traders. But you can use the MIM if you're a symbol trader also, or if you're a sector trader. We'll talk about, here we go. So we're off and we're running 2.2 billion to buy. So we have 2.2 billion to buy, 2 billion on the NASDAQ. So the 4 boxes are the upper left-hand box, all the markets. The right-hand box, upper right-hand, is NYSE. So the NYSE, which is a broad-based market, it's only 300 million, right? The S&P 500 is 2 billion, and the NASDAQ is 2.2 billion to buy. So it's all tech. It's all tech, baby, on the buy side today. Now, if you look at and I'll tell you what the other thing that's important on these data, so to kind of evaluate this data. If you look at the NASDAQ bottom right-hand corner, you'll see there's $1 in the lean. I guess I can highlight these. I'm not a very good presenter, sorry. And I don't know if you can see that where the leans are. The 82 number is flashing. The symbol number, which is the pound number. Okay, so this is saying that 62% of the symbols on the NASDAQ. 62% of the symbols on the NASDAQ that have imbalances are buy imbalances, okay? So for me, 66% is a magic number. That means 2 to 1, right? So twice as many symbols have buy imbalances, have sell imbalances. That tells me there's a breadth happening, and that's going to move the market in that direction. We're a little shy of that. There is nobody that has a 66% simple number, and so we're kind of missing the breadth on this. I don't really know what the price action is. What is the price action right now?
Yeah, we're not really moving very much in the futures.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of somewhat of a delayed reaction.
Yeah.
For me, this is kind of a setup where I want to try to buy the futures going into the close. But the problem is there's always this kind of wiggle between the 350 imbalance and the 4 o'clock cash close, which I kind of pointed out. Sometimes you're better off waiting if you want to try this trade. It's kind of risky, but going more toward 4 o'clock.
And then continue. So if you want to kind of digest this stuff, the Nasdaq's kind of an easy one to do.
I just bought an S&P at 65.5. I'm not going to risk a lot. Maybe 6.5, maybe 6 handles, 8 handles, something like that. And again, I'm not recommending any trades for anybody, but just based on the way the S&P has kind of been in this back and fill pattern, and you've got all these tech names to buy. So can you go through some of the tech names?
Yeah, let me just say a little bit about the timing on the MOC too.
Okay.
At the initial time, the orders that are placed, I consider them non-discretionary orders. These are people who all they really care about is getting the closing price, right? They're mechanical traders. They've got funds that they're responsible for. They got to balance out their S&P 500 fund. They got to add cash, or they have to remove cash, or whatever. And all they need is the closing price, and they're going to get the closing price no matter what time they go in. So they can set their orders in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they can walk away for the rest of the day and not have to sit behind their screens in the close and be reassured that they're going to match exactly what the S&P is going to be. So that's the initial thing, right? So as we move along here, and we'll look at that, at 355, that's when I say the non-discretionary people come in, right? Because that's when the discretionary people come in. I'm sorry. So if the mechanical people have to sell the S&P, they have to get rid of NVIDIA, right? If NVIDIA it gets driven down because of that in price action, that the discretionary people can come in and just pick up that one symbol or whatever the symbols. They don't have to do the entire basket of symbols. So they get to trade through the entire MOC. So you usually see them coming around 355, which is coming up right now. So we should see a change in the imbalance here. It's pairing off at about 800 million overall. It's still the Nasdaq that is driving the upside of the imbalance. But now you can see the symbols for the S&P 500. Only 52% are actually sell imbalances. So most of the symbols on the Nasdaq are now just flipped over to positive. But it's right about break even on the Nasdaq, so to speak. This chart right here is showing you the imbalance as it's going through its phases. So you can see the buy side is coming down, but the sell side's coming in. So orders to sell are coming in. So the discretionary guys are coming in and they're selling, okay, into this close. So that's going to put a damper on the upside right there. And I think we're going to see a flip. There it is. There's the flip in the imbalance happening right here.
But that generally happens every day, right?
No. Sometimes yes, it generally happens every day. But sometimes you get that rare day where people actually come in and actually boost in the other direction. But I mean, there's two things happening, right? You're getting the pairing happening, which is the imbalances are getting balanced. Okay, so you see the numbers coming down. But when you see something like this with this red line here, where the sell side, I can't really highlight that. I don't know if that's working or not. But we went from at 353, the sell side was 2.7 billion. At 355, now it's 3.5 billion. Okay, so that came in. Those are new orders that came in. So you can see what they're how they're coming in. That's not a pairing type situation.
Yeah, the Nasdaq futures are offered.
I'm sorry, I just don't have a price chart in front of me. I can't really see. So if you come down here to the top imbalances. We show you the top 10 imbalances. We can do more than that now, and we're going to do that in the MIM lab. In the MIM lab, you'll be able to, if you're a simple trader, you'll be able to see and put in Apple, and you'll be able to see how Apple closed over the last 30 days or whatever, whether the institutions were buying or selling, whether it's just discretionary buying or selling or non-discretionary buying or selling into each symbol. That one's going to be available to you. So anyways, you can see SpaceX is the top buy right now, 310 million shares to buy. Okay, so they've got $312 million worth of orders for SpaceX, more than they have. So it's open. They're looking for sellers to sell into that, right? Sellers live at higher prices, so the theory is SpaceX is going to have to move up. And if they get into the close and they don't have enough and they haven't paired it all, they'll go to the limit on close orders. That's when you see the big jumps at the end. And so a lot of people have got limit on close orders, sell orders to try and sell at a bargain, at a real profit for SpaceX. Move down. So anyway, so you can watch this going around symbol by symbol, sector by sector. If you come down here to the sectors, you can see, let's see what we got here. We got, there's nothing really strong here at all. It's kind of a blah thing. So the information technology is the largest sector being sold. Oh, there we go. Materials is coming in. Let's just got up to 66% a minute ago. Well, that paired off quick. Anyways, financials is doing okay. Basic materials is not doing okay. Let's come back here now. Now see how they're both coming down. Okay, there's no upward thing. You expect them to pair as they go down. You expect this to go down to zero, basically. But when you see that when you see this rise up like that in the middle of the cycle, that means orders came in that direction. So I would say that this was a sell on the close.
Yeah. I didn't follow my own rule about 4 o'clock.
So we have on our books right now, we have 655 symbols between that we're getting live data on their imbalances. That's about normal. Any questions? I know I skip all over the place, so.
No, you're doing good.
Anybody do a trade?
Yeah, I did, and I'm losing. It was the wrong way.
Let me go to here.
It's all Nasdaq selling.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think when you look at this correctly, I mean, with the way the Nasdaq has gone up, I shouldn't even have thought about trying to buy this. But I guess the pain would have been a little better if I waited till 4 o'clock.
I should trade without looking at price.
Yeah. Everybody should.
I should just trade based on what I'm seeing in front of me, and just hit a buy or sell button.
So, does anybody have any questions? Even people on Twitter. Anybody have anything they want to ask Marlin?
Well, did sell, huh? Well, that's the game all the time. The close is like an incredibly important time, and the open. I mean, those are the two most important times of the day.
Well, yeah, and I also think there's a lot of high frequency algorithmic trading systems that trade the close too, right? I mean, that's been a big part of the MOC for a long time now.
Everything on my machine just froze, so I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Well, no, I think for some reason my webcams are frozen.
Oh, okay.
The MIM froze because the MIM's doing a post analysis now. So, which is, I think that's a problem. I think the MIM should stay up and not go into this reset cycle here. Hey, Rev, I shared today that Kepler report. Did you, or Kepler? I don't even know how you say it. I don't know. Did you take a look at that? I thought of you when I put that in there. Talking about the lowest low inventory on crude. You look at either in the links room, or does anybody have questions? I'm jumping around. So look in the links room and see, or in the IM Pro. It's easy to find the links room though. Does anybody have any questions on how to use Trade Chat while I'm on? So Kepler, so the Kepler guys. So marine traffic. Marine traffic is very, very famous. That's the ones where you see all the boats going through the Straits of Hormuz. My old house, which I just sold, I actually had an antenna on my house that monitored boat traffic, the AIS boat traffic system. So I was kind of keyed into their data set. Now KPLER, I think that's what it was, bought them out, and they're a huge data company. And so they've got this huge data set of the ships that are going here and there and everywhere. So I thought, the Rev might be.
Well, we've got some earnings coming out too, right?
There's a lot of earnings today. Let's put something interesting up here.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna jump off, Marlin. Are you gonna go over what? Anything else you have to go over with the MIM? Or?
Oh, no. I was going to actually just put my email in there and tell people if they have any questions at all to hit me up. I'll spend as much time with them as they need. Go through the room and make sure everybody's using the room to the full potential. The MIM, Spygate, whatever you need.
Yep.
No, because we have a meeting at 4:15. So
yeah, we do. Okay, so I'm gonna hop off. I'll talk to you guys later, and we're gonna be coming back. I mean, we can't. Marlin's always busy, so we can't guarantee to do the MIM once a week, but we're gonna try to do it more often so people can get a kind of look at the data and kind of understand what it's about. But anyways, thanks a lot, everybody. We will talk to you soon.
bye, guys.
All right.